first team we're going to feature on the grassroots segment is Haringey Borough Women's FC. They're located in Coles Park, White Hart Lane, London, N17 7JP, and that's in the Tottenham area, of course. By White Hart Lane, you should recognise that. But I think you better recognise. But they also have a Facebook group, Haringey Borough Women's FC. They have a Facebook group as well. I'm sure if you ask nicely, they'll let you in. I'm sure Miss Carla Parker and the other ladies will grant you entry into the group. But also, they have a website, www.haringeywomenfc.co.uk. So for more information, check out Haringey Borough Women's FC on their website as well. And you know what? Also, they train on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evenings from 7:30pm until 9:30pm at Northumberland Park Community School, Truelock Road, London, N17 0PG. So, if you're a female and you play football to a good standard, get down to Haringey Borough Women's FC. On the subject of ladies football as well, a big shout out to AFC Phoenix as well. Big shout out to them. But you know what? Yeah, we've got a quick match report from Haringey Borough Women's FC. It's Haringey Borough Women's FC 1, Stevenage Borough 3. Haringey started well after a delayed kickoff due to the opposition being stuck in traffic. Jules Andrea Kie Carruthers played a lovely long ball to Lena, who slotted the ball low and hard to score first early in the game. Stevenage had few real chances in the first half, and Haringey were unlucky not to extend the lead further. Haringey gifted our opponents an equaliser, and the opposition continued to hoof the ball forward. Refereeing decisions didn't go our way, and we were unable to be clinical in front of goal. Despite some good play and loss of concentration, Haringey will be disappointed with the result, knowing the better playing side on the day didn't take the points. And that match report is from Miss Carla Parker. But yeah, big shout out to Jamal Kendall Campbell, one of my Ibis teammates, who actually coaches down at Haringey Borough Women's FC as well. So that final score, Haringey Borough Women's FC 1, Stevenage Borough 3. Yeah, they've got a few more games left this season, so we will try to keep you posted on that. But good luck to Haringey Borough Women's FC and their remaining games of the season. It's coming to that business end of the season. But the other side we feature on the grassroots segment is the club I call home, and that's Ibis FC, IBIS FC, Ibis Football Club. Ibis Football Club at gmail.com. Email there for more information. Facebook.com/ibis.fc. Also twitter.com/ibis_football or at ibis_football on Twitter, and ibisfc.co.uk is the official website. Training is every Wednesday from 7:30pm until 9pm at the Battersea Park all-weather AstroTurf pitches. But training right now is actually finished for the summer. So, going into the results from the 27th of April 2013, Old Westminster Citizens 2, Ibis 1's 4. Mark Addy getting 2 goals, Phil Obi getting a goal as well, and Constantinu getting a goal as well. Old Lionians freeze 0, the Ibis freeze 3. Cooper got 2 and Phil Stevens got 1 as well. Stevens has been very prolific this season. Congratulations to the Freeze as well. I think by virtue of that result, they're actually promoted. Big shout out to Alex Minchell as well, aka Minch. Big shout out to him. HSBC 5's 3, Ibis 4's 0. And we're going to get on to that game in a second. But the squad for that particular game for the Fours had Ollie Raggett, Patricio Baptista, Carl Buffery, Neil, who is actually Carl Buffery's cousin, Peter Reesgate, Alan Harmon, Gustav Lindblad didn't show up, Robert Lusher, Stuart McKenzie, Namo Tamisa didn't show up either. It's not the first time that's happened this season with Namo, actually, but I'm not telling tales out of school. Jordan Mills was a late dropout because of work. Thank you for letting me know that ahead of time, by the way, Jordan. Big shout. Second shout out this show, actually. Mark Mitchell, Barry O'Toole, aka Barry Big Balls. That's what Rob Lusher calls him. Callum Scott, and Gavin the G-Man Henry was a late addition as well. But look at who to be G-Man. You're not going to hear the other variation of that chant from me. But anyway. But yeah, match report, HSBC 5s 3, Ibis FC 4s 0. A day which was as confusing as the weather in our final game of the season ended in a manner befitting the season in general. Because we started off having to draft in players, actually, because... and I'm not just talking about like half of the 2 side whose match was actually cancelled this week. But my Pitch Talk co-host Gavin ended up filling in up top along with Carl Buffery's cousin Neil, which helped us get a bare 11 after 2 players actually no-showed. And we also had a late dropout in the form of Jordan Mills due to work commitments, who usually plays up top. But fast forward into the game, it was a bit of a whirlwind day with yours truly, Straight Shooting LJA. I was basically assistant captain alongside our next Pitch Talk Meets interviewee, Rob Lusher. And due to Gavin playing, I was actually on filming duty for the Ibis documentary that we've been filming over the past season. But I digress. So, you know what? Let's get back to the matter at hand. Anyway, back to the story. But anyway, pre-match, we were trying to make sure we got a bare 11, and we just about did. So, after Man City had beaten West Ham, kicked off and, well, actually finished. And before I could even get the camera set up, we actually conceded an early goal. And, and we were on the back foot in the first minute. So one of them ones. But the guys did well to battle back into the game. And HSBC's right winger was actually quite a useful player. And he had Rob for pace at left back. And but there were some nice passages of play at times on our side as the weather was changing more than a woman of loose morals changes sexual partners. But it's one of them ones, from sun to cloud to sun to rain to cloud again. That's how much it was changing. So it's one of them ones, man. I mean, and this was just in the first half. So at the end of the day, half-time rolled around, and yeah, man, it's like half-time rolled around, and I felt the need to give my 2 cents to the guys, which was basically, when you get the ball down and communicate with each other, you're ripping them to shreds, which we were, which was true. So the second half rolled around, and because of the rain, the camera had to be put away, so I ended up becoming like a kind of manager on the touchline. I couldn't, kind of naturally almost. Which I must admit was a lot of fun, because I did actually get quite immersed in the game. So, like, but anyway, back to the match itself. Anyway, back to the story. The second, it was one of them ones that, from a free kick, which was unnecessarily given away about 25 yards out, the HSBC player decided to take a chance. So similar to Joe Hart's mistake in the West Ham Man City game, the early Premier League kickoff. The ball bounced in front of and squirmed under our keeper, Ollie Raggett. So 2-0, and fortuitously so, but 2-0 it was. So I had to scream from the touchline for Ollie the Octopus Raggett to put it behind him. And also that you can't change the past, but you can change the future, which has become one of my catchphrases over the past season. But feeling hard done by, our disjointed side carried on trying to force chances and ended up conceding the third goal, which was an absolute belter, to be perfectly frank. If I'm being overcritical, the striker should have been closed down a bit quicker on the edge of the box, but the shot was unstoppable, and it had me in shock on the touchline as I watched it. It was one of them. It was like, oh my god! As I watched it fly in, it was like, crap. It was just like, no, he's not just done that. That was my reaction. But full time rolled around, and after a few good performances from a really patched together team, for myself at least, being one of only a couple of Force players in attendance on the day, I was looking ahead to next season, because that was our last game of the season. And you know what? The questions that are still up in the air at this moment in time: will there be a Force side next year? And if so, who's going to captain it? I mean, Liam Angel, aka Straight Shooting LJA, I said to Rob and Barry O'Toole on our way to the game that I'd consider it. I consider it an honour if I was chosen, and I wouldn't turn it down if it was offered. But no one knows what the future holds, so at the end of the day, we'll see. And our final game of the season was a 3-0 beating, so with plenty of food for thought for next season, I'm Straight Shooting LJA, and that's my take on the match. And G-Man, seeing as you were there, what was your take on the match? Because we've got an interesting perspective considering you played in it, and I wanted to be playing in it. But what was your take on the match? Well,
my take on the match was, first of all, like, it was an honour to be drawn in. I know there was no other. There was really and truthfully there. It's not like Ibis could actually get anyone else there, and I was just the local, being that HSBC's grounds just down the road from me, and I was on my way. It was an honour to play for Ibis. And the match itself, the first half, it was really good. We played really good up until the 40th minute. The way in which the goal came was a bit unfortunate. But, you know, like you said at half time, you know, we were playing really well. We got the ball down. We were trying to play it fast up front. Myself and Neil were trying to latch onto those balls. And then you had, I think it was Carl and I can't remember the young Brazilian guy or the Brazilian. Is it Brazilian or Uruguayan guy or South American guy that you had in centre of midfield that was, you know, threading the balls through? He's playing quite well, Pat.
Ah, yeah, Patricio. Yeah. Because he was originally playing up top with you, and he kind of dropped in. He kind of dropped into the midfield.
And also credit to the defence, which, to be honest, I've seen you play, you know, for a majority of this season when I've been down there, and that was a totally different defence than I've seen before. So they done well in that first half, you know.
Are you saying that they were improved for the fact that Liam was actually on the sidelines recording?
You're not funny, you know. Let's try it.
I'm just asking, because like you said, it's a unique perspective. He was playing, you wasn't, and apparently the defence looked a lot better.
It was a completely different team.
And they didn't concede as many goals, I'm just saying.
No, it was a completely different team. I mean, apart from, well, Ollie Raggett broke his finger earlier in the season, but him and Rob Lusser were the only two playing who could be considered regular Force players.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But right, Jesse put me in a moment there where I felt like he was Jeff Trees and I was a player that had to answer an awkward question, which I will not answer.
Fair enough. I know what your answer is.
Yeah. Tried it.
But the second half, I gotta say, you know, the other team basically just got stronger than us. And again, like Liam said, it's a totally different team. And I think it was just the inexperience of the team playing together that, you know, just let this, and us putting our heads down after a while, just let the team, you know, sort of landslide us.
I didn't want you lot putting your heads down. I was shouting that, no, heads up. I was shouting effing heads. It felt
like we just lost the motions. We lost the quickness of the passing of the ball, you know, and, you know, it just didn't seem like things. But we were playing against the wind as well in the second half, which was harder.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the rain starting to come down as well. It was like what? But
I gotta say, you on the sidelines, and I said it on the thing. It wasn't no asking thing. You on the sidelines, and your how vocal you was. It was good for the team. Like I said, I've watched Ibis this season. They haven't had that before, and having someone as vocal as that on the sidelines, you know, it is a perk. Because I could see a lot of players taking notes of what you were saying. Because, you know, it's always good to have the person on the sidelines positioning you and stuff like that.
I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, that's why for me, it was. Like in the second half, even though the rain ended up subsiding, I didn't pick the camera back up. I was just like, no, I can't film it. I was too immersed in it. So it's one of them ones, man. I kind of like, yeah. I just really got into it. I just really couldn't help but get into it. And at the end of the day, if I can't play, if there's other ways that I can help, I'll do it. So that's the way, man. That's the way. So it's one of them ones, man. But it was an interesting match. It was an interesting match. To be on the sidelines and not be able to play, yeah, it had to be interesting for me. It's like, I want to play. There was the temptation to risk myself, but I thought, nah, I might as well not. But Gavin actually played up top. He actually played up top as a second striker. So I kept telling him, drop in as soon as, because Rob Lusher mentioned to me, yeah, you need try and get Gav to tuck in a bit, and I was like, yeah, come, like tuck in. I came in, and then there was one point where I said to there was one point where I said to Gav, oh yeah, tuck in. He was like, no, I'm staying here. For a few minutes, I can understand it, but all them kind of motions there, like I now understand what they mean. I never did before. Them kind of no, come on, closer. But no, man, it was fun though. It was a hell of a lot of fun. But just want to shift on quickly though, because that was Ibis FC featured on the grassroots segment, and of course we need players. So it's one of them ones, man. If you're interested in playing for the Ibis, you just heard the G-Man's experience, ibisfootballclub@gmail.com, ibisfc.co.uk is the official website, facebook.com/ibis.fc, and @ibis_football on Twitter.